Time will tell. We have another big one now against Wolves, a really difficult team to play against. They have shown against the top teams as well what they're capable of, and I know the preparation has been focused and understanding what we have to do tomorrow to win the game.
Kai Havertz has now scored it in back-to-back games, and you spoke about the fact his confidence is growing. What have you been doing and the club been doing to get him to the level that you know he can perform at?
First of all, support him like with any other player, and then give him the tools and the time to excel his qualities. And I think that's what he's doing. Everything is started to come together. A lot of things that he was doing right, he continues to do so, and now obviously in front of goal, he's been very efficient.
We understand the club are in talks with Takahiro and Ben White about extending their time at the club. Is that part of the wider strategy of trying to keep your key players, the nucleus, together for the next 3 or 4 years and beyond?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing in the last few years, apart of strengthening the squad as well, rewards and have some stability in the squad, and those decisions are very important, obviously.
And you come up against Wolves tomorrow. Gary O'Neill spoke on Monday and said that referees' decisions are affecting reputations and livelihoods. Do you have some sympathy with some of the decisions that have gone against Wolves this year?
I have sympathy with all my colleagues because I know how beautiful, at the same time how challenging our job is, and the exposure that we have, and those moments in front of the cameras are not easy ones, and you see that in many situations already this season and last season, and yeah, we're here to make the game better, to make our clubs better, and we all need to win to do that.
IFAB had a meeting earlier this week, and they're going to have some more trials when it comes to sin bins. Is that something that you'd like to see in football?
I don't know. As you said, it has to be tried. I think it's a long shot still, and we'll see what we get from there.
And finally, for me, any fresh injury concerns following the game on Wednesday?
No, I don't think we're going to get anybody back still, and we didn't have any incidents, so all good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alice from the Premier League.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
4 wins in a row, 12 goals scored, just 1 conceded. Some might say your midweek win was close to perfection. Do you feel you're approaching your peak performance, or is there yet another level to come from you?
I think there is more levels to come, and I hope so. And we have to continue to do a lot of the things that we're doing really well in games to earn the right to win, but I think we can still improve and be more consistent.
We'll look at the fixtures this weekend. You play tomorrow, but your closest rivals aren't in action until Sunday. So with that in mind, by Saturday night, you could be 4 points clear at the top of the table, of course. Does that, I wonder, give you an extra edge by putting the onus on your opponents to respond to what you do in the weekend?
We can control what we can do, and if in this league I learned that they are not a very positive thing to have in mind. We are really hungry to play in front of our crowd tomorrow and win the game, and this is what we are going to try to do.
So Wolves up next, of course. They come to the Emirates with a good result against some of the bigger sides, already beating Man City and Tottenham so far this season. What sort of a challenge are you expecting from Gary O'Neill?
Yeah, it's very prepared. Obviously, they have a lot of quality over the field. It's not a coincidence what they are doing, and they perform really well, especially against the top side as well. And that talks highly about the quality of the coaching staff, what Gary is doing, the way they have prepared and control opponents, difficult opponents, especially when they play at home. So we're going to have to try to break them down tomorrow.
Perhaps not surprisingly, teams may well come to the Emirates with a tendency to set up defensively against you. I just wonder, how do you go about countering that?
Well, giving players tools, ideas, and understanding what we have to do, the game that we want to play. And then, as I mentioned before, it's about the efficiency that we showed in that last part of the part that dictates the outcome of the game. And the other night we were very, very efficient on that.
Yeah, the games are coming thick and fast. I know you're not the only ones with a full-on fixture list, but how much of a challenge is it managing the demands of 3 games in a week?
That's the beauty of it, though. When we wanted to be in that position, and we are playing big games every 3 days, and the squad is ready. The players are hungry to play every single game. They are disappointed when we have to rest them to manage minutes. That's a really good sign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Rupier.
It's important for all photographers to turn the lens on themselves at one point or another. It's made me a lot more confident. Your work doesn't just have to be accepted and loved by everyone. As long as it makes you happy, makes you feel creative, that's the most important part.
When you look at what Gary said after the game on Monday night, and then obviously with the Newcastle handball and Eddie Howe's comments after the game, is that at the moment, do you think, the VAR controversy and everything like that, the one thing that all managers are having to deal with more than anything else?
I have enough in my garden.
And then we look at, we've got Ben and Shakira Tomiyasu obviously closing in on hopefully signing new deals. When you first came to the club, there were players leaving at end of contracts, there were players whose contracts were cancelled and the players were paid off. But when you look over the last year with Odegaard, Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, probably even more than that, having those deals done, does that organisation off the pitch just help you plan and work better on the pitch?
It does, and as well because those players have deserved with performances the way they behaved, and new deals, and as well it gives us stability. They are in a brilliant age as well. There is still much more to come from them, and that was the initial plan. But it's something that they have earned, that has made the squad much stronger, and as well credit to Edu, to the board, everybody that planned as well those sequences to get them in the right time to keep evolving the squad in the right way.
Probably the ultimate test at the moment. I think probably the Manchester City, obviously we played recently, but at home, and they have Manchester City have a few injury concerns, whereas Arsenal feel like they're in a real good moment. So probably the ultimate test in the Premier League at the moment, and especially to go there with a weakened group as we will, and maybe not the numbers that we've had for some of the other games, will be a real test for us.
Okay, we're starting with Kai Havertz here. Controversial topic, I think divides, hasn't convinced many people yet. I am not singing the song. The best thing
You love the song.
The best thing about him, let's be honest, before he scored 2 goals in 2 games, was the song. That's not being brutal, that's just facts.
Yeah, I mean, there was that penalty at Bournemouth, remember? And we thought, okay, maybe after that, this is the turning point. And this is it. Mm-hmm. And they sang it that day, of course. But then it still took him a bit of time to go to that Brentford goal. And I think that psychologically, you see there was a few chances missed along the way. He's involved in that Martinelli goal, massive goal at the end of the City win, of course. But this is the one, I think, really. And then he went on to score against Lens 3 days later in the Champions League, and to win the game as a sub too, coming off the bench, I think was massive for his confidence, for the team. And what we saw against Lens in the build-up play from Arsenal, he was playing a little bit higher up. Odegaard was dropping a little bit more next to Declan Rice, and I think that will suit him more. Don't get him too much involved in the build-up play. He doesn't need to be. However, he will have a better impact higher up on the pitch, on the ball when Arsenal are in possession, but also out of possession. He's a very good presser of the ball. And if you look at his numbers, he's very good at recovering the ball in the last third of the pitch, for example. He's got that physical, he's quite strong. He's a tall guy, he's a strong guy. So he's got that side in him. And I think that's what Arteta is trying to work on him a little bit more.
Arsenal, are they better off than last season, or what do you make of them? I mean, I know they're top of the table right now. There's just a different feel, and I think the opinion is still divided. I'd like to hear yours.
I actually think they're stronger, to be honest. Some of the signings they've made over the summer, especially Declan Rice, getting the captain of West Ham, I think that builds another level of character to the team, to the squad. And his movement's infectious, his energy is infectious, the way he presents himself is infectious. All of the players around him have bought into him straight away. You know, you normally see a player take a little bit of time to kind of acclimatise himself to the way that the new manager wants him to operate. But he's just slotted in really, really well. He's got the trust of the players that he played with for the England national team. The other players as well, they believe in him because they've seen the quality firsthand. Players like him have stood out immediately. Kai Havertz, just very briefly, confidence is a major thing. From a forward's perspective. If you don't have confidence from your teammates, from your manager, you start doubting yourself. And look, he's a good football player. Genuinely, he's a good football player. However, he just needs that confidence boost. And that's what he's starting to get now. 2 goals in 2 games, and Arsenal top of the league. So he's going to have something in him that he's just believing in.
You were talking about Gabriel and Saliba a little bit earlier on. In preparation for this, I was reading up. Saliba hasn't even got a yellow card this season. No. Isn't that remarkable?
It's hardly been dribbled.
Yeah.
So if nobody dribbles past you, you're not going to tackle really, you're not going to foul.
He leaves it to Gabriel, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, as you know, he's my boy, so I'm completely biased here. I just think he's an incredible defender. And he's only 22 years old, and he's going to get better and better. There's still a couple of times where his positioning is slightly wrong. He makes up for it because he's so strong and so quick, but he will get better and better. And one of the best things that Arsenal did
sono solo attore angelo. Lei si sedeva accanto a me mentre producevo. Dimmi sinceramente se ti ho fatto male. Giravamo come pazzi sopra Renegade. Ti ricordi quella sera? L'ho quasi sfondato e ancora ho un flusso di pensieri.
Was to sign him to an extension deal because he's there for the long term, because he's going to become one of the best defenders in the world.
From one goal scoring and defensive side to the other, Wolves, the opponents today, we had an interesting chat off air about Wolves and their goal scoring situation with Hwang and Cunha. Now, my question was, the two of them, since the Sheffield United defeat, they've played up front. Do Wolves still miss something? Do they still miss a traditional centre forward?
Yes, they do. A player similar to Raul Jimenez in terms of the all-round player, but they missed the goal scorer, an out-and-out goal scorer. Now, they're very good players, and they like to... I think both of them's favourite position would be in a 10 position, just behind the number 9. But they don't have that, so they kind of have to rotate a little bit. Pedro Neto, I think, is outrageously good. I'm not sure how long he's going to be.